Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Esteemed Gentlemen Podcast for Wednesday, March 31st. I am your host, Scott Labrie. Joined alongside me, as always, we have Uncle Teabag himself, Tyler Sund here.
What is the angle of the dangle? I was waiting for you to call me Uncle Teabag so I could use that one. It's been a few shows.
A 90-degree angle. It's just like
90.
Perfectly like to the left.
Oh God. I'm gonna call you the French hook, but that's not the right curvature.
And we have all day Eric Deshane here as well.
Hello.
How you doing, Eric?
Good. How are you?
I am good. Just did some cleaning around the house, and I'm ready to podcast.
Beautiful.
Nice.
That's like probably like what Howard Stern does before each of his broadcasts. Tidies up his office or something. He's like, boom, ready to go fucking knock out another show.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Let's go. And speaking of Howard Stern, he's a funny guy. And today's topic, I thought we would talk about our favorite stand-up comedians and just other comedians in general that we find funny. So yeah, anybody, Tyler, who do you think is the funniest person in the world?
That's a tough one. I think comedy is such a tough
Very
thing
subjective.
Very subjective, because I like really dark humor, like the kind of humor that offends everybody. Like the more offensive, the better. Because it's just like, ooh, because it's like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that, but it's so fucking funny because I can just imagine the people that would take offense to it would laugh. Would like, so like,
it's not so much the joke itself; it's like the people responding to it. That's the funny part. Yeah, I can see that too.
Exactly. So like, if I was sitting like with somebody. I'm one of those people that like when you go to a party, and I like to be the funny one. I guess I'll admit it. I like being the funny one. So if somebody else is trying to be funny, it's like, okay, man, you need to go to your own party. Like, fuck off, man. So if I was sitting like one of the comedians that I think is probably one of the best that I really enjoyed that actually laugh out loud funny, like laugh at TV, is Dave Chapelle. Is one of the number one, and he was like, because he's so dark and so offensive, but yet it's so fucking true, and it's just like it's educational and straight to the point, but he says it in a funny way where it's like you're not too sure if you should be offended, so you just laugh because it's kind of funny. It's like, hey, wait a minute, but he doesn't just like pick on one particular subject. It's everything. He's on all of it, so it's not just one specific race or gender or whatever, right? Or one side of the spectrum. So I thought that was I thought he was really funny. So like, but like if I was to sit in like a bar with him, just him and I, we're having drinks and trying to be funny, I don't know if I would really laugh, because if it's just me listening to it, it's like, well, it's not that funny. But like if he's saying it loud enough that somebody gets offended, then I'll laugh. It's weird. It's really weird that way. So I think but yeah, so like somebody like Dave Chapelle, I think is probably one of the funniest. And I used to think before all the accusations and everything came out about him was Louis C.K. I thought he was really funny. I because he had that really dry humor, very honest, and like straight to the point, kind of like whatever. And then you hear about what he was saying and doing and jerking off in the bushes or whatever the fuck he was accused of doing. I was like, that's weird. Dave Chapelle all the way. So him and then like a whole nother spectrum. Another one that I thought is absolutely hilarious. I actually listened to his like a few of his stand-ups just like on drives. Was Jim Gaffigan, like a totally different, like he basically makes fun of himself, right? And he does that woman's voice, like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that, Jim. And that kills me every single time. Like, oh, he's doing that voice again. He makes fun of that too. It's just like, man, he just doesn't leave anything untouched when it's about himself. Like he just totally shits on himself all the time. But like, I don't know. Like I said, it's like comedy is so subjective, like you say. Right. So, and then you got somebody like Mitch Hedberg. I thought he was funny because he's so like dumb humor, like so stupid humor. But those are some of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I know a lot of people too who say, like, oh, I'm not into like stand-up comedy, but I think it's a lot of it is just you just haven't found the right comic that you're into. A lot of times, like,
Mhm.
I mean, me growing up, like I was like, I don't give a shit about stand-up comedy because to me, growing up, stand-up comedy was just like just for laughs, playing on Comedy Network or whatever, and it's like all 1980s, 1990s, just like PG garbage stuff. And then
Yeah.
it's like I remember being in high school and I went on YouTube and I watched a Lewis Black stand-up special, and he was talking about bottled water, and he's
Yeah.
and he's just going in. He's just like, I remember back in my day, there was no such thing as bottled water. You could go to any tap in your house and get fresh, clean water, even the fucking basement. And he's just going on, and then he's like talking about how he's like, yeah, there's these couple in Pittsburgh. They're just filling these suckers up. It's a scam or something. They're sitting in the bathtub filling these guys up.
Yeah. And still making a profit.
Exactly. And I was like, oh man, this guy's hilarious. And then eventually like you find Dave Chapelle. And I think Dave Chappelle's actually gotten a lot better as he's gotten older because he like even in his new Netflix specials. I know some people aren't like huge fan of him. But it's kind of cool like that he cracks jokes, but then like he will go into like a serious part and like he'll be like talking about like yeah, the shit like actually sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he actually has a point in it kind of
Right,
cool.
exactly. And then he'll end it with a big joke at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And just to like lighten it back up, like, oh yeah, right, we're not listening to a session here. We're actually still listening to a comedian, and he like keeps you in that groove.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say when we were talking about it earlier. Like he's very as funny as he is, he still comes off as someone who's very like well versed and well learned in the world, and he knows what he's talking about for sure. And
he's such a smart guy for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very well educated. Yeah.
We were watching his Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld, and you just listen to him talk like, oh man, like he knows his shit for sure. So it's fun. It's outside of him you don't see. All you see is just like the old clips from 2002, the old Chappelle Show shits and stuff like that. It's like, oh man, but this guy's like too bad not doing enough because he's good. He knows his stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad about COVID because I think we probably would have gotten another special from him by now. And yeah, I'm waiting for that. Another guy who I think is really funny, or two guys, I guess, is Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. They are freaking hilarious, and they're kind of like newer comics. They're like just kind of getting big right now, and they do a podcast called Two Bears One Cave, which is just hilarious. A lot of time it's just like them just kind of like us just chatting bullshit and stuff like that. And one of the funniest clips, like it'll make me like wheeze and like cry laughing, is from that podcast where go look it up if and you watch it. It's called I forget what it's called. I think it's some just do Two Bears One Cave Jennifer Aniston. It's Tom Segura telling a story about how he met Jennifer Aniston, and then they go into like, do you think we could like have dinner with Jennifer Aniston? It's like, yeah, would we invite our wives? It's like, no, let's not invite our wives. And then it's like, well, can Jennifer Aniston invite a dude? Like, and then the guy's like, yeah, for protection. And then the guy's like, wait, that doesn't sound good. And then they just crack up and they can't like recover from that, and they just keep saying like, for her protection, and they're just dying laughing. It's so hilarious.
Yeah, but like Brett Kreischer, he's definitely one of the newer ones for sure. I know he's been around for as long as all those guys, pretty much. Like, and yeah, he's been for touring for years. But lately, his last two stand-ups has been you kind of blew up from that, right? So, like I remember his one with the Machine. The Machine got me like that. This guy's fucking hilarious. Is it true or not? I don't know, but it's a funny ass story, and I like it. So.
He has that personality that is like, yeah, it could be true for sure.
If it's somewhat true, then it's probably stretching, but whatever. It was just funny. And then, yeah, that too. It does lots of podcasts and little YouTube skits like that with all of his other friends. Like, holy shit, this guy's great. Yeah. And then, he's pretty good.
I'll have to listen to that because I know I've seen Bert Kreischer in something before, like TV or something. I recognize his face just looking at him here. He must have like supporting roles in something, but yeah, I know I've seen him somewhere before.
He's always on Joe Rogan all the time. Like him and Joe are big buds. Like,
okay,
a lot too, and he has other YouTube shows as well for other stuff like that too. So
okay,
yeah,
yeah, and I'm also a big fan of Bill Burr because he's another guy who just like. He will say something that will offend like 95% of people, but like the way he says it, and he will explain it out, and you're just like, you can't help but laugh, and you go like, yeah, you're right. Like his jokes about like, oh, people say being a single mom is the hardest job in the world. No, it's not. Tell that to the guy who's on the freaking middle of the ocean oil rig that's blown up and caught on fire. He's burning alive in the middle of the ocean. And what are you doing? Like, oh, Tommy's a little fussy today.
The voice too. Oh, Tommy's a little fussy today. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he's funny.
Sure.
It lives to get a rise for sure. That's kind of his whole stick with that.
Oh yeah, and his rants are epic too.
It is so strange to like see him like popping up in Breaking Bad and now like Mandalorian and stuff. It's like, hey, that's Bill Burr. Like, what's he doing in a Disney show? What the hell? Yeah. That was kind of the funny thing with what's her name getting let go, Gina Carano getting let go for her stances. And then he was just like, have they heard the stuff that I said? Like, how have I not been fired? My action figure's not been pulled. What the hell's going on here?
Like,
right? Exactly.
Be a good character, I guess. That's why.
Yeah, but he probably just comes off as like he's just joking about a lot of it, right? Like most of the time he's just joking. But she takes a pretty serious stance on her views and stuff. So, but
yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, he definitely has a good point. Some of the shit he says.
What are you guys' opinions on Joe Rogan?
I don't know. It's okay. Like I don't see the big appeal. Like everybody, like a lot of people at work. One of our good friends, he knows who he is obsessed with Joe Rogan. Says, "Oh, did you see Joe Rogan? Oh, he's talking to those guys from NASA about the UFOs." But that guy, he knows that he's It's like, no, I don't know. He's all right, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's definitely got some good celebrities on his show, but that's about the extent of it for me.
Yeah, same.
Really. So.
Yeah, he has a good podcast here and there, depending on the guest. Like I find, like if he has comedians on there, it's usually pretty good, and they're riffing back and forth. Like also sometimes he picks like some really strange guests, and it's like, why do you have Donald Trump Jr. on your show? But whatever, it's like, that's his thing, I guess. So
it's probably because he's had everybody else on his show already. Right. Running out of new people to interview, talk to.
Yeah, he just the way he like goes on and on about UFOs. Is like, okay, we get it, Joe. You're into aliens. You think they're real?
Yeah, on the UFO and eating elk and
conspiracies are real, man. Yep.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I know. Yep. Sometimes he has some good clips. Some people on it, but sometimes it's like, okay, I just don't want to listen to 2 hours of
sometimes
a guy going on. A guy going on a good point, a good topic, and then Joe interrupts him and veers off course and talks about something else. Like, okay, he was going. Why interrupt the guy? He was making good points, but you have to interject him for some other shit because he wasn't talking for a while. I don't know. So
maybe
I get frustrated with him sometimes because sometimes the guests are really good and they're making valid points, and he just kind of steals the show sometimes for some reason. It's, okay, it's not fun to watch or listen to. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not that big into podcasts, so that's why I don't listen to him. But I listen to this one every episode. I listen to it.
That's insane to me. Like I can't listen to my own shows ever. Like unless I'm trying to learn like the bad habits that I have. Otherwise, it's like, no, I do not want to listen to it.
See, and that's what I did too. I was listening to it too, and I just like at the beginning with the swears, because somebody again had mentioned that I, like I swear a lot, so it's like, and then I listen, I'm like, holy fuck, yeah, I do.
You drop an F-bomb right there.
Yeah, I haven't dropped an F-bomb in a while. I'm trying to limit myself to about a handful an episode instead of every sentence. That's not bad.
That's good. Then quitting cold turkey because knowing darn well you'll just say it out of habit. So yeah, no, that's fine.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, so, but yeah. No. And as for comedians, like even Robin Williams, if only he did some more stand up, he was so funny. But he's a very expressive guy.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys think of like Dane Cook, his stuff?
Hit and miss. Some stuff like I don't know. I remember watching a lot of the stand-ups when he first came out with that, and I remember the one, I forget which one it is, but he's like in the middle of a of the stadium pretty much. He's in the circle stage and he's going around, which makes sense for the way he communicates that way, because he's very energetic and very vocal that way now, right? So like the story of him doing the B&E, I just think of that every now and then, just like this way he can express himself and then kind of just throw his body around. I'm like, yeah, that plays well with that. Is that kind of comedian now? But I haven't seen him lately at all, though. So I'm not too sure if he's still
he got caught like stealing jokes or something like that.
Oh, could be.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember him seeing a thing with him and who else was there? He with about stealing jokes. Was it?
Yeah, there was somebody else too that was doing the same thing. Yeah.
There's Carlos Mencia is like another big.
Yeah, that's a common one. Him and Joe Rogan, Carlos Mencia. Yeah, like I still watch like Bobby Lee talks about it on his podcast all the time with him and Brett Kushner go off about it again and other stuff. Oh yeah, that was a big one. Him too, like he got big with Comedy Central and everything else, but yeah, he was stealing jokes, right? So bit of a no in that world. So yeah,
right. No, I just. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say one of my favorite stand-ups that he was doing. He was talking about he was jerking off or something like that in his bedroom. And then he heard somebody coming, but he was like so close to finishing that he didn't want to stop. So he backed up into the closet. He slammed the closet door shut, and then a bowling ball fell off the top shelf, smoked him in the back of the head, and it like made him suck his own dick. And he did like this on the stage. Like he's just so psychotic and disgusting. See, that's another one of my humors. Like it's so left and right field, man. It's crazy.
It was Louis C.K. It was him and Louis C.K. Visiting each other on the couch about stealing jokes. I remember that now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that now. Yeah, I think it was on like a Louis C.K. special. Them two on the couch talking about that.
Yeah.
So that's right.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a big no-no, hey?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's like that's all you have.
A livelihood, yeah. That's
Right?
your whole thing.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense from their point of view, because it's still like you can't really own a joke, but again, like Carlos Mencia was known for stealing. I forget the comedian joke. Was it? He was an old comedian back in the 70s and 80s. He burnt and caught on fire from his crack pipe. The hell's his name? I can't think of it now. Shit. But like he stole the whole joke, like beat for beat. It wasn't just the same lines, but the same mannerisms, the same tones, the same punchlines. Everything is the same thing there too. So like that's like, yeah, it's not one thing to kind of copy and kind of steal the idea and the essence of the joke, but to do the exact same joke word for freaking word, then that's just wrong. Yeah,
So
you deserve to.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor, that's it. Yes, is the joke with him and raising your son to be a baseball player. You can see the clip comparison word for word, the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So like, to steal from a legend too and they can get away with it. Like, yeah, no wonder he got in trouble for it. So, and now we'll never see or hear him anymore. So yeah.
Well, I'm seeing a lot too. Like even he's apparently stealing from Bobby Lee too, stealing his jokes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like another like damning thing that came out was that Joe Rogan's like, yeah, he's not even like he comes across as he's a Mexican and tells Mexican jokes and stuff, but he's actually like half Peruvian, half German, and his name's like Nick Holson or something like that.
Something totally different, yeah.
Nick Holness or something like that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, comedian.
It's a cutthroat world out there with those guys because it's tough. You have to. You're just putting yourself out there to kind of make yourself be noticed, and that's what your jokes get you ahead, right? So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Somebody's jokes is like, what the hell?
It's like copyright infringement, man. Like you copy another movie, you steal a title or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I get the idea behind it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
That was the one thing whenever I think of like writing something or trying to be funny, but I'm like, am I coming up with this or have I seen this before? Or am I stealing it from somebody else? Like, I don't think I'm that funny. So knowing me, I probably thought elsewhere and I'm saying it again.
Jeez. Yeah, that's tough because entertainment's been out for so long, right? You're probably copying everybody, like a little bit of everybody's ideas and just putting it into your own production. Like even like with the stupid books that I write and the movies that I make, I'm sure is, somebody out there's already done all of it the same way. So yeah, it's tough to come up with anything creative that's your own.
Yeah, true enough.
What are your guys' kind of influences on your brand of comedy? Like, we're all funny guys. Like, you know, what are your biggest influences?
My biggest influence?
Yeah, because, I mean, me personally, like, one of my biggest influences is the YouTube group Mega 64. Like, I've been watching them since I was 14 years old. So, like, I'll use tons of their inside jokes. Like, it's worth $1 if it makes you laugh. I'll say that, like, all the time. And just like other just like stuff that they say all the time. It's just just their type of comedy. I go into a lot. Also, like, from my dad too. Like, he would like constantly like tease us, kind of like acting like he didn't know what was happening or whatever. Like, you know. And I find myself doing that a lot when I'm drunk. Like, I'll be like
playing dumb,
dumb, exactly. And then somebody's like, "No, it's," and then I'm like, like, I was just kidding. I know what's happening. Like,
yeah. Probably my biggest influence since I was little is probably my grandpa. I think I get a lot of my humor from. My brothers bug me about it, and yeah, like, he was just so like. Speaks his mind all the time and just like assumes how you're feeling just from the look on your face, and he'll just call you out like, "Oh, you must be thinking blah 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 blah," right? And just like, even if it's wrong, it doesn't matter. You're just saying whatever the fuck you want to say just to like put them on the spot and make them feel uncomfortable. Like, I think a lot of that I get from my grandpa. My grandpa was so bad for that, and he's just like so social with like, even when we went for dinner, he would just talk to the waitress and talk about how he likes their shoes. He'd like look at their chest and look at their shoes. He'd like, "I like your shoes." It's like, grandpa, fuck, man. Like, what do you do? I don't get much of like that, but just like the way he, I don't know, like just his whole persona. And I think I get a lot of it from there. And then a lot of my humor is like, I get little bits from everybody that I meet. Like from you, Scott, I think I've picked up on a lot of your mannerisms too. Like a lot of shit that you do from living with you for however many years. Like, I've never met anybody like you before, ever. And I'm like, man, this is new material. I gotta adapt a little bit. So I like everybody that I hang out with, like even like coworkers, when like our old boss, like Peter and Sarah used to work there, I absorbed, like, Peter had his very own brand of like his humor, and then Sarah was just like always yelling and like just constantly had something to yell about. So I just kind of absorbed like little pieces of everybody that way and just use it, I guess. Remember good one-liners that I really liked that made me laugh. I'll try to remember those ones. Shit like that. So yeah, a lot of Bruce Willis, like, sarcasm. I really like the Bruce Willis sarcasm, all of his lines from his movies. It's a big influence for me.
Nice.
Yeah. That's mine.
I'm trying to think here still. Like, I know a lot of my some of my humor definitely comes from my dad. Was the same way too as well. Very much I wouldn't say smart ass, but very much,
Oh, your dad's a smart ass.
I guess smart ass is the right way to say it, I guess. Yeah. Sarcastic and smart ass. Yeah, he's silver tongued, that guy. He can think of a joke on the fly, and it's really envious of, because he can just be funny on the whim.
Yeah.
Like so I try to emulate as much as I can, and I know for me, my go-to for humor is I love especially when I'm meeting somebody new, to make them uncomfortable with my jokes about having no legs.
Yeah, you do that a lot.
I love that so much, because those who know me well know that, like, yeah, he's just being a smart ass.
Yeah.
And it's that look on my face, like, I can't believe you said that. You just can't believe you just did that. I'm like, oh yeah, it's my way to kind of, ease the tension and have fun with it, right? So
right.
I know my favorite go-to story from that is, like, I went to Grant McEwen back in 2010 for university, and I was living in residence, and there's a party in one of the quads in one of the rooms, and we're there partying up all night. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning. We're all going to bed and are leaving to go somewhere else. And as I'm leaving, I'm like, oh hell, I can't find my shoes. And the one girl, so the room we're partying, and she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I can't find my shoes. Well, what did it look like? I'm like, they were. I asked me something. I'm like, I think they were white Nikes with some blue laces. I'll help you look for them. 20 minutes went by, and I didn't say a fucking word.
So, oh my god.
And my cousin Justin, who was staying with me at the time, he was in it on too, and he just sat there. We're just dying of laughing. And poor Brianne, like, this poor cute blonde girl, is took forever to find a clue, and I'm like, man, like I don't have. Oh my god! Eric, you fucking asshole.
Fuck.
Oh, it was a good time.
Yeah.
My favorite part,
I guess that's where I get my sense of humor from, for sure. Is my dad would. That is no stranger to do something like that for sure. So,
oh yeah,
I love that. So yeah, I guess that's kind of my go-to for that. I don't know. To me, that's an easy icebreaker because I know it says a defense mechanism, but like, well, no. If I want to, that's my way of showing you like this. Be cool with this. No big deal. We'll get along just fine, right? So yeah.
Yeah, then it just gets weird, right? Like I can imagine like somebody sees into like they're trying not to look, you know, or say anything, whatever. Like, and when you just crack those jokes, it just right away eliminates all that tension, and now you can, you know,
it's just be easy and be chill, and it'd be fine.
Exactly.
We get along just fine. Yeah. So
exactly.
And I like a lot of the time you'll slip them under the radar too. Like we won't catch it until like. Like 15, 20 seconds pass by. It's like, oh, Eric, that's a good one.
That is, yeah. And you always seem to have like new ones too.
Yeah.
I got a few on the back.
I haven't heard that one yet.
I got a few to pull out of the back. Yeah. So yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because I find like a lot of my humor too is just like, I don't know if it's just destiny or fate or whatever, like all the stuff that's happened to me is good icebreakers. Like I always have a story, I think, because I've just, so much shit has happened and I've done so many stupid things too. So I don't know. I tend to have a lot of stories that way.
So. Yeah, you have lived a funny life. So you have a lot of funny stories.
Most of it, like probably about 50% of it wasn't by choice. The other 50 was definitely my own fault.
The good story,
I feel like it probably wasn't. I don't think it was. Maybe it was. I don't think so. But yeah, there's been a lot. That's for sure. A lot.
Makes me think I'm like a sheltered kid or something like that. It's like, holy man.
Well, you just used your brain a little bit more than I did.
That's exactly.
You thought about the repercussions of doing something first before just saying, fuck it, I ain't no bitch, I'm just going to do it.
That is true. I'm very like risk-averse person. It's like,
right.
Like I get hurt doing this, I'm not going to do it then.
Right. Exactly. And I'm just like, let's go. Oh, that was stupid. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you go. I think we're pretty much right at time here. Anything else you guys want to?
One thing I'm surprised you guys didn't mention another comedy duo was Key and Peele. That's one I wanted to mention.
Oh, yeah.
Because they reminded me a lot, like when Chappelle left TV. That was a big hole to fill because that show came out. It was revolutionary. How good and funny it was. And I found when Key and Peele came out, it was very similar to that. Like almost like it was mostly just the same idea. They just that little
skits
and skits with that. Yeah, that was fun to watch again. And I find they were a great, like, I wouldn't say return, but a good like little fix for the Chappelle show because ever since that show left, it was tough. And Key and Peele, man, some of their stuff, oh god, it's still to this day. Substitute Teacher, I always laugh at that video clip still.
Oh yeah,
Aaron and
Aaron.
Oh yeah, and from people who are those two are also great writers as well, right? So. Oh
yeah, well, I mean,
Jordan Peele with his directing horror films, like you would never guess this comedian is a genius director when it comes to scary movies, man. So yeah.
But that's the awesome thing too, like to go back to saying like comedy is such a hard thing to write for because everybody has such a different personality and like offended by different things. But it goes the same by writing for horror films. Like I'm starting to notice, like even the new Halloween reboot, or I guess it's like the newer ones. It's all comedy writers. Like Danny McBride helped write Halloween. The guy that directed Pineapple Express, Seth Rogen's one of the producers. Like they're all getting into the horror franchise, the superhero franchise. Like it's if you're good at writing comedy, you can almost write anything because comedy is such a hard thing to write for.
Yeah,
for sure.
I can imagine it's like every joke's been told already, so like you have to come up with something new. That's pretty hard to do, I imagine. And you think of like the horror genre, it's like, well, fuck, everything that's been done in horror has been done already. But then you have Get Out come out, and it's like, holy shit, this is like totally different and insane. Well,
exactly. And then just to go back to it again, to Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis reprises her role. It's the same. It's basically a direct continuation. Well, not direct. I guess it's like 30 or 40 years after the first one. Michael Myers comes back to Haddonfield to find her, and he goes on a killing spree. It's like, well, we've seen this already. How many times? Like 9 times, probably 9 movies.
I think so, yeah.
At least. But like this one was so different because the characters were well written. You actually gave a fuck about these characters that are getting stabbed to death because there's a little bit of comedy, like they're jokesters but they're like, well, they're stoners, but you can tell that's going to happen because of the writers, right? They're all stoners. So. But like, they're so well written, and it's like the relationship that all the characters have is so realistic. They're not just cardboard cannon fodder for Mike Myers to go around and just stab, well, it's not just going by, who's going to get stabbed the best in this movie. It's just like, oh man, like I hope these guys get out because I like these guys and these characters. And so like I think they need more comedy writers to do horror films because because you laugh and you're also terrified at the same time. So it's like,
yeah, very much so.
Like that little kid that the one babysitter's babysitting with, and she's fucking with him because he's like, come upstairs, there's a boogeyman, he's in the closet. And then she's like, what, really? And she like runs, like she's pretending to believe him, and she runs in there, and then she's like, sir, hello, oh please don't hurt me. Oh, she starts screaming, and then all of a sudden she jumps out of the bedroom at the little kid, and he like backs up, and like she's like, I'm just messing with you, and he's like, fuck bitch, I'm gonna tell my parents what you did. He's like 12 years old, this little black boy. It's the funniest scene. And then of course Mike Myers actually does come out of the closet and stabs her to death. And you're like, no, and it freaks you out because you don't see it coming because you're busy laughing, and all of a sudden, wham! Oh, that's good writing. That's good stuff. Yeah.
Good point. Cool.
Nice. I just want to bring up one more thing because Eric said Key and Peele, which reminded me of Eric Andre.
Oh,
There's another like just like totally stupid, like insane person. But it makes me laugh. I tried watching his new movie on Netflix, and I had to turn it off after a little while because it was getting a bit much. I'm gonna finish it, but like it starts off with him, and he's like working in this like car wash, and he's like has like an actual dude who's there. He's washing his car. He's like, oh yeah, I'm just vacuuming out the interior for you. He's like, hey, can you turn on the vacuum for me? He turns on the vacuum, and it just like sucks off his whole entire clothes. And he's just sitting there with like his dick out, and then the guy's like, what'd you do? What button did you press? Like, I just turned it on. He's like, give me your jacket, give me your jacket, give me your jacket. Hands him his jackets and stuff like that. And then like his high school crush, he's like, oh, that's my high school crush right there. It's like, and she's about to leave. He's like, don't let her leave. Make sure you get her number. And then the guy like actually tries to get her number from him. Like, oh man, this guy's a stand-up dude. But like, it's just so bizarre. And his interviews are so crazy from his show, like the Flavor Flav interview, where he just like gets and strips naked and his desk turns into the tub, and then like,
he's losing his mind.
Yeah. So hilarious.
Is what's his name in the show? His guy that he's using Hannibal.
No, he has like a guy who looks almost exactly like him and acts kind of similar to him. Like, but it's kind of a bit different. But it's like,
oh man,
they just couldn't get him like in there.
Because he was like the perfect balance for him,
right?
Yeah.
But I
might have to check it out.
There's one part in the trailer that I was watching where like the black guy, I forget what his actual name is, but he goes into like a porta potty, and then he's like help, and he like opens the door, and he's like halfway inside the toilet, and he's like, I'm sinking. And he's just like
doesn't even make sense, man. I don't know. I'd probably be. It'd be hard to watch, I think.
It's like Bad Grandpa, but like turned up to 11. Like,
yeah,
where you're just like, geez, man, like you feel bad
so
for some of the people. Yeah, exactly.
And Eric Andre, he's not afraid of anything, man.
No,
He'll
he's
just
not.
Whatever. Yeah. Oh, that's nuts, man.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, there you go. That's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. If you liked it, leave a like here on YouTube and subscribe. Share with your friend. Same thing else on Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever you're listening to. Share it with your friend. We're trying to grow this thing as much as possible. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Just search Esteemed Gentlemen on there. And that's going to do it. We're going to be coming back here tomorrow with another episode where we're going to be talking about cooking. Chef skills. We'll see you then.
See you later.
See you guys.